There are a ton of Facebook ads trainings out there. They teach you how to convert from ads, which is great. That's exactly what we want from our advertising, right? But did you know that you can also use Facebook ads to refine your marketing messaging that you can use across all marketing, online and offline for your business? For this episode of Unforgettable Online Marketing, I've interviewed Eric Sharpe, founder of Digital Envy, and he shares with us how we can leverage Facebook ads to create a marketing message that speaks deeply to our ideal clients. He also shares tips and tricks for entrepreneurs who aren't Facebook ads experts who want to take on their own ads so they can do it and be effective as well. I'm Tara Wilder. This is Unforgettable Online Marketing. And on this show, we share practical online marketing tips and strategies for virtual business owners so they can stand out in a noisy marketplace and attract their ideal client. Before we begin, I want to encourage you to please subscribe to the show on your favorite podcast platform so you never miss an episode. Okay, let's begin episode number 2, Refine Your Messaging with Facebook Ads. Hey everyone, it's Tara Wilder here, and I am so excited to introduce you to Eric Sharpe, serial entrepreneur, mentor, and advisor to emerging technology startups, and founder of Digital Envy, a digital marketing agency. And today he's going to be sharing with us his expertise and his genius on Facebook ads. And I'm really excited about this because he's going to be coming at it from a different angle than what we hear about a lot of times in the space of virtual entrepreneurship. So I want to say hello, Eric, and welcome. So excited to have you here today.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks for having me on, Tara. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm so excited. So, I shared a little bit about you, but I would love it if you could introduce yourself a little bit, tell us how you got started, what led you, I guess, to online marketing. And I think that those two questions were basically the same. So tell us a little bit about you and how you came to be.
All right. Well, I was raised as like kind of a techie nerdy kid growing up, fixing computers. My dad taught me how to build my first computer, and I really loved technology. And when it came time to choose a college to go to, I realized that I didn't want to go and become like a computer engineer. I knew I didn't have the guts for that. That was just way down a path I couldn't do. I couldn't sit at a computer for 10 hours a day coding away. I also didn't want to be an MBA. I really liked business, and both of my parents were MBAers, but I didn't want to take that path either because I had done just a ton of business stuff just through osmosis, through my parents growing up and learning about their small businesses. So I ended up going to art school of all things. And I went to the Savannah College of Art and Design, and I ended up getting a degree in advertising. And for me, what that did was it combined technology, kind of marrying technology and creative together. So I learned how to advertise really complex stuff. Just certain things, and people create all these cool new apps or these awesome pieces of technology, but they're not necessarily the best at describing them. Creating that super sexy message that comes out. So I kind of fell in love with that during college, the whole aspect of branding and taking a concept and turning it into something a little bit more tangible and understandable for all of us regular folk out there. So that's how I kind of got into what I do now. Now, I started my first business in 2007. I was graduating from SCAD. I was a senior, and I started a computer repair business. It was just, an IT business. And it wasn't anything too crazy in the first couple of years, mainly because the economy just absolutely tanked, as we all know. I graduated college and was trying to, start this business up. And I think my first year I made like $5,000. It was just, pathetic amount of money. But I was happy. I was running my own business. I was working a couple other odd jobs. And eventually I committed to running my company full time. So I stopped all the odd jobs and the side gigs. And, I was like valeting cars. I was washing dishes, and I was repairing computers, right? So I committed to stop that and to focus on my business. And that's when things really took off. I put myself full time into it. I began to market myself more than just kind of word of mouth. I was, trying out flyers and try to advertise in some, newsletters and things like that. And, things grew little by little in Savannah, Georgia, little old Savannah, Georgia, but they didn't grow as fast as I thought they would. And eventually I had to take the plunge. I ended up getting office space, and that was one of the scariest things I had ever done. I think it was like 20, probably 24, 25 years old, right around the time I was signing a lease for office space. And it was about the same price as it was the same price as my current rental. So I basically was like renting two properties. One of them I could barely afford anyway. So here I was signing a lease, multiple year lease for office space that I could, barely afford anyway. So I pushed myself to the next level, and I have this office space now, and so long story short, over the course of the next 4 to 5 years, after getting that office space, I started hiring employees because I needed someone to be there in the afternoon when I was out doing a job. I needed someone to actually like man the desk, someone to repair computers as they came in and meet with customers. And so that eventually the company, we were doing multiple six figures in the last couple of years, and we had 6 employees. We were voted best computer repair company in Savannah, and it was a lot of fun. But along the way, a lot of people started asking me to do things like website design and stuff like that. So I started a digital marketing agency, or what eventually became that. It went from a website design company, and then it kind of pivoted into a digital marketing agency. And I met with, I mean, gosh, I think at that point in time, over the 9 years that I ran my company, Digital Doc, I met 400, 500 business owners and helped them with their technology and their marketing. And, I learned a lot. I learned a lot about, small business owners. I mean, $50 means a lot to a small business owner. And when it comes to marketing, they need $50 to make them $250. Otherwise, it just doesn't make sense. And they end up kind of pulling back on the reins. So that's my story. That's the brief beginning of my story. I'm now in Atlanta, Georgia. I sold Digital Doc about 3 or so years ago, and I continued my digital marketing agency here in Atlanta, where I work with some really awesome technology-based companies in Atlanta and across the U.S. and the world.
Wow, wow. Yeah, you've had a super long history and I love it. You were thinking about at the beginning, like, oh, should I go for this degree or that degree, an MBA? And I don't think you were ever cut out for like the beaten path, like you were
No,
meant
yeah.
to be an entrepreneur to just create your own path, I think.
Yeah, and I was fortunate enough to have parents who encouraged it as well. I mean, they were the driving force behind me starting my first business. But I mean, my first business was $0. I mean, literally, I think I had a bin of like computer parts, and that was it. My dad bought okay, I lied. My dad loaned me like 50, $100, and we bought the website and the hosting, and that was it. Like I started out with nothing and started little by little. I got one, two, three, four clients. I used those clients to help refer me to other clients. And then little by little, it all got going. But along the way, competition rose up, and I had to do something different. And that's what we're going to talk about here today is a little bit is, what do you do in the face of competition, or how do you differentiate yourself, out there in the
Yes.
market?
Yes, yes. And that's actually a really good segue into that. So I'm so glad that your parents were supportive of you because I think, regardless of whether or not you do have support, you can do anything you set your mind to so long as you're physically capable. But of course, the support really, really helps. So that's really great. It's interesting that you say that. So somebody recently, I engaged with them on Facebook and I asked them what their target market is. And they said, oh, or what they do, how they serve people in their business. And they said, oh, I help men and women lose weight. It was something like that, get healthy and lose weight. And I was like, oh, okay. So do you have a niche? Do you have like a specific market that you go for? And she was like, no, everybody can benefit from these products or services. I don't remember which one it was. And I was thinking, the quote, when you speak to everyone, you speak to no one, comes to mind. Like if your message is so broad and general, so it can touch everybody, it's not specific enough to really touch somebody deep in their hearts, which is why it's so important for you to pick that target market and to develop your message and what differentiates you from everybody else. Because honestly, most of us, what we're doing, there's somebody else who does it. I mean,
Mhm.
really. So then when people come to us, it's because of the special thing that we have to offer. So how does this relate to Facebook ads? The reason why I'm so excited about having you here to share what you're going to share is because we see, like I said earlier, we see a lot of people talking about how to generate leads on Facebook, how to grow your Facebook page, things like that. But another way that you can use Facebook ads is to refine your message and see who your message, how it's performing and who it's really speaking to. And I'm excited to hear from you a little bit about that. So tell me a little bit more about how we can use Facebook ads to refine our messages.
Sure. Well, first I want to touch on the target market a little bit, because I think that's an important thing that anyone really should kind of start out with. They should have an idea of what their target market is. And one of my favorite ways to kind of play a game and figure out what that is instead of trying to think about everyone says, well, who are you trying to market to? Why don't you look at who you don't want to market to? So, for example, I don't want to market to someone who's broke. I don't, that's not who I want to do business with. I also don't want to do business with a company that has over 250 employees, because then at that point they're so big, they don't need a company like mine. So that's just like an example of think the opposite way. And then as you start to create this list of negatives, if you will, right? The things you don't want those types of people you don't want to do business with. For example, I want someone who reads magazines, not newspapers. I want someone who drinks coffee, not tea. Find those negatives, and then that will reveal it. Just kind of carve away at who your target market is. And this is going to make it a lot easier for you to discern who your actual target market is, right? It's a little bit more fun that way, I think. And, it's always good to have someone like yourself out there that can help. You can help carve away at that with someone interview style. Certainly you ask your customers like, well, who's your target market? And you bounce back and forth as to what that can be. But that's one of my favorite methods of figuring that out. Acting like a sculptor, if you will. You can either add clay or you can just have a big old block of it, which is everyone. You just carve away at, what you
Yeah,
need.
that's a really
So
good way of
that's,
looking at it. I really like that. I mean, you say negatives, and I know exactly what you mean. And at first, it's like, why would I look at the negatives? But it's like, I feel like a lot of times in life, people know more about what they don't want than what they do want. So that's a really good way of looking at it. And yeah, when I work with my clients, a lot of times, or sometimes, they're not very clear on who their target market is. So I go, it's a conversation. Sometimes I have them start with a form, but then we get on the phone and we just have a conversation about it. I have them answer that question however it feels right to them, and I just ask them more questions upon that to like reveal who it is that they're reaching out for. So that's great.
yeah. So, getting into a little bit of the meat of this, I think that Facebook is phenomenal for many reasons. Obviously, they've come under fire recently with a lot of issues in terms of their privacy laws and things of that nature. And it really, all advertisers come into that. And technically, in my opinion, Facebook is selling data. I mean, they're selling our data, but the thing is, we give it up voluntarily. We sign the terms of service. We are telling Facebook that we are engaged. We are 20 some years old, and we, are really interested in pizza. We're telling Facebook this information by the things that we like and what we engage with and the activities we go to. If you attend an event, you're telling Facebook, hey, I'm attending these types of festivals. Therefore, I'm more likely to be a festival goer. So we take that as a marketer and we try to, we use that carved away target market and we send out ads. And, how do we arrive at that like perfect ad, right? I mean, I know a lot of us see ads all the time on things like Facebook, Google, whatever, but there's a lot of ads that are really, really spot on. And then there's some ads that aren't spot on. And I know the difference between the ones that are really hitting, exactly what you need right then and right now versus the ads that you kind of scratch your head. You're like, why Like, why are they sending me an ad for the monster truck rally? Like, that's so not, I'm going to sit at home and eat my granola and my fruit cup. And like, why am I seeing this? Well, it's because of one of many reasons you might be seeing it, but ultimately that marketer, that advertiser is testing something, right? And what they're
Or it's
testing,
really poorly created Facebook ad as
or
well.
it's really poorly targeted.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Or they're targeting everyone, right?
Yeah.
Everyone who lives in this area between the ages of 18 and 80. No. So,
And the thing
uh,
is with that, by the way, with that example of 18 to 80, the way that you would speak to an 18-year-old is completely different than how you would speak to a 75, 80-year-old. So yeah, maybe they will be interested in your monster truck rally, but it might be from completely different angles.
one of my favorite things to do, Tara, in terms of using Facebook ads and testing your message is I love changing the headlines out. So the headlines are typically, attention grabbing, because you've got your picture or your video up there, but then underneath that you can give off a message, a headline, and something that you're going to tell an 18-year-old versus that 80-year-old is completely different, right? So for example, you might advertise a monster truck rally to we'll just say like a 40-year-old will say, hey, bring the family, lots of family fun, the kids will love it, versus a conversation with an 18-year-old for that is going to be, watch trucks smash into each other and have an awesome time. Those are two completely different messages. Now they can still be on brand. I mean, they can still be, uh, you know, you know, watch trucks smash into each other, but the way you talk about it is different and it's coded differently based on your target market for this. And we all know that, monster truck rallies are definitely family fun and friendly if you're into it, which, I've been to a couple of monster truck rallies, don't get me wrong, and they are fun. Not something I would do now as a parent, but when I was younger, they were fun. So that messaging is slightly tweaked. And the cool thing is with Facebook, you can create, 4, 5, 6 ads, and you can bundle that into an ad spend that you only spend per day. So you could spend $5 a day testing these ads and figuring out which ones are reaching your audience, and are people interacting with it? Are they engaging with it? Are they commenting? Are they liking? Are they clicking to go to the website or to learn more or to sign up? I mean, you can have people sign up right then and there to learn more information. What's that call to action, right? So that's really the core of what I think Facebook has a benefit of, and you see all these amazing ads out there, but I guarantee you they didn't start like that. As an advertiser, a lot of what we do is 80% we think this is going to work, but then the other 20% we figure out later. We figure out, okay, well, we spent our time researching headlines that we think are going to work, and then we test them based on a hypothesis, and then a week or two later we figure out, okay, well, these 3 headlines were pretty good, but these other 3 were just junk. Like, nobody liked them, nobody commented on them, nobody engaged with them, therefore we're not going to use those moving forward. And little by little we whittle it down to 2 or 3 ads, and we just keep those ads running. And that's how you get a really solid, juicy, scrumptious ad that your target market loves, and they engage with it and they click on it and they comment on it and all that good stuff.
Yeah, marketing and advertising it's all just guesswork. I mean, I tell people all the time when we create these strategies, we don't know like definitively how this is going to perform. Even the marketers at Pepsi don't know. I'm saying Pepsi, I'm in Tennessee or in Atlanta. We are definitely in Coke country. I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
the marketers at Coke, when they're launching a marketing campaign, even if it's millions and billions of dollars, they still don't know if it's going to work. And
And they do focus groups, for example. I mean, those big companies, they do focus groups. They do the same types of stuff. And even now, those large companies are doing the same exact thing that you can do on Facebook right now, which is test your message, test the creative. You can do all that. You don't need a big agency to do it for you, although it helps because I'm a big fan of always hiring someone to do something for you if they're better at it. If it's not in your wheelhouse, if you're not a graphic designer, then you hire a graphic designer to get work done for you, right? But even then, whatever agency you hire, or if you do it yourself in house, definitely make sure that you're testing ads before you solidify that the one, two, or three ads that you end up spending a majority of your budget on.
Yeah, so I want to highlight that because something that was coming up in my head as you were talking was I was hearing other people say, well, there will be some ads that don't perform well, nobody's clicking, engaging, and now all that money is just wasted. Well, no, it's not wasted because now you've learned very valuable information of what doesn't work, and then that one ad or however many did work really well, and then that's where you put not all, yeah, the majority of your money. So would you say that this is accurate to not spend your entire ads budget testing everything out, but test for a little while, then use the rest of your budget to hyper focus on the ads, the campaigns that worked?
Yeah. So short answer, yes. Typically we spend, in our agency, we spend the first third of the budget and typically a third of the time just on testing the ads out. To me, research is a big, big, big important thing. If you're not doing the research behind things, if you're not doing the market analysis behind your target marketing, so on and so forth, you're not carving away at that target market, then you're selling yourself short and you're going to waste a lot of time and energy. And after you've done that research and then you put together, your hypothesis. I mean, after we write down a hypothesis, we believe that more 18-year-olds are going to click on this ad and get their parents to help them buy a ticket to the monster truck rally than an 80-year-old will, because we believe that 18-year-olds are more likely to go to this than an 80-year-old. I mean, that's a hypothesis. Certainly that's pretty easy to prove because I don't see a lot of 80-year-olds at monster truck rallies, but
You
you never
don't?
know. And that's the thing. Yeah, no, right? It's amazing. I see them driving the cars. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what they do. That's what they do. Well, it'll be
Driving the
really
trucks. Yeah.
interesting to see like 50 years from now how all the things that the young kids are into, how it's going to be the old people into that. So you may see like a lot of, well, I don't know, when did Monster Truck, okay, I'm going on a tangent.
It's fine. You can go on a tangent. You
No,
mean
but
like
anyway, it's really good to know. That's all.
Minecraft for seniors? Like the new bingo will be like Minecraft or something? Yeah.
Yeah, right. And I was thinking that like Nintendo, Mario Kart will all be in like nursing homes playing Mario Kart 64 or something like that.
Except it'll probably be in virtual reality, but yeah.
That's true. We'll be in our little pods. Our little
This is
pods.
true.
We joke about that now, but you never know. Anyway,
This is true.
so this was really, really helpful, and we got to wrap it up here. Otherwise, I'm sure we could talk for like hours and hours about Facebook ads. Was there anything else that you wanted to add or wanted our audience to know before we sign off
Yeah.
here?
Yeah. So
About
if
Facebook
you
ads, 'cause
never,
I'm gonna be asking you where we can play
of
with
course.
them.
Oh, there's lots of things I want you to know. Awesome. So the first step to producing a Facebook ad is I really want you to know that there's a difference between boosting a post versus actually getting into the back end of what's called the business manager for Facebook. And you can go and set up your business manager account right now if you haven't already by going to http://business.facebook.com. And that is where you can set up your initial account. If you've already set up your account, then you can go in and see any past ads that you've done there, any campaigns, so on and so forth. And Facebook does have a very, very robust help and tech support. You can chat with their tech support as well during certain hours of the day. And the cool thing is you chat on Facebook Messenger. So you can actually use that to chat with their tech support. But make sure you set up that business manager account. That's the key to access all this stuff. From there, you can do everything from, you can create test ads and creative. You can explore target markets and save them, which is really convenient. So you can save the target market of 18 to 24-year-olds for the monster truck rally, or, the 30 to 40-year-old dads with kids. Versus technically in Facebook, you can't advertise to people over the age of 65. So you can do
65
65
plus.
plus.
Yeah.
Yep. So, but you can save those target markets, which is great. So that's my first step for anyone out there trying to set up their ads. And from there, the world's your oyster.
Good. And actually, I have one more question about that. Uh, what is your opinion about people trying to do Facebook ads by themselves? Do you recommend that people try doing them themselves, or do you recommend that they go straight to an agency from the beginning?
Absolutely. Go ahead and try it yourself. I think it's perfectly acceptable to do that. I think you'll learn a lot by trying to do some on your own. You can actually determine the budget. So if you don't want to spend over $100, you don't have to. You can set that budget within Facebook so that you know that your credit card is not going to get hit for more than that amount of money. Just make sure you do that, and you know that you've done that. And before you hit the submit button, you can check on that. And even after you hit the submit button on the ads, you can go back in and make changes, which is really convenient, which is why digital advertising is so great. Because if you go off and buy 10 billboards, or you put an ad in 5 magazines, halfway through, you can't reel it back in and go, no, actually, I don't want to advertise in all those billboards. And, I don't want to do it in that magazine. You can't. You're toast. You sign the contract. It's already done and printed. Versus with Facebook and all these other, avenues out there like Google and LinkedIn, Pinterest, Instagram, whatever have you, you can stop your ads midway through and go, this is the winning ad. We're only going to run that ad. Yeah. It's a hand down winner.
I love it. I love it. And you're so right. Yeah. I always talk about how social media is a great equalizer. And this is a good example of that in the same vein anyway, is that this is so accessible to anybody. I mean, the power editor and business manager and everything can be some people can find it a little challenging to figure out, but in the end, the world is your oyster, and you can start on your Facebook ads and create a really successful one all on your own, which I love. I love it.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so I was going to ask you actually what you recommend our listeners, what their next step should be. And you said it's to go to set up their business manager, right?
That's correct.
Good. Business.facebook.com.
You
All right.
got it.
Well, thank you so much for being here, and also for your gift to our listeners and viewers. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, sure thing. So I put together something. It took me a couple of years to do it, and I get how frustrating technology is. I put together a list of over 80 pieces of software that I have used and demoed out and trialed, and a lot of the software I actually use for my own business. And I put that together in a downloadable ebook, if you will. I call it the Digital Domination Toolkit. And you can get that by going to dominate.digital. So it's http://dominate.digital.
I love it. I love it. And as somebody, I'm techie too, but I have hopped from tool to tool and software to software a lot because I'm always trying to figure out what's the best one to use. And there's always something wrong with this one or that one. And it takes so much time and money and effort. And sometimes things could fall through the cracks as you're transferring from one to the other. So this is really, really helpful to hear from an expert who's been in this for over a decades. Over a decade.
Yep.
You said 2007, right? Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So this is really, really great. Please, guys, go check it out, dominate.digital, and all the information will be in the show notes as well. And where can they come and play with you online?
You can catch me online, catch me on the internet. You can email me anytime you want. It's eric@digitalenvy.co is my email address. Or
Eric.
I have a cool Facebook group. Yeah, Eric with a C, good call. Yeah. Is there any other way to spell Eric?
I know. And there's only one way to pronounce Tara, and that's Tara.
Exactly. Exactly. So yeah, feel free to email me if you have any questions or just want to reach out, and I'll, either point you in the right direction, or, maybe we can help you out with whatever questions you got. And I do have a Facebook group. It's called Digital Dominators. So you're welcome to hop in there for free. And it is a closed group because it's, a bunch of entrepreneurs similar to your group. Ours is strictly talking about like technology and software, like kind of um, un, un, un I don't want to swear on this, but
No,
it's
go for it.
we make it easier to unfuck up your technology stuff. So,
Well, if
so
you're
if
gonna
you,
say it with confidence. You're like,
yeah,
fuck
right.
it.
Well, I got a baby now who's not around here, but I'm trying to tone it down a little bit.
Yeah. She's turning 1 in a few months, right?
This is true. Yep,
She's
she'll be
listening. She's
she'll
listening.
be one soon enough. My baby girl. So it's fun. I'm a dadpreneur. So forgot to mention that in the beginning. I'm a dadpreneur. Yeah.
Dadpreneur.
Yeah.
New identity.
So I guess a serial entrepreneur. I will also have to start spelling it CEREA.
You've got jokes. I love it. Serial dadpreneur. Great. Awesome. So I'm going to add all of those links. I highly recommend that you go and check out his Facebook group. It is awesome. So I'm going to add all of those links in the show notes. Go to unforgettableonlinemarketing.com/2, the number 2, to go check that out. And I really do recommend that you reach out to Eric. He really, really knows his stuff, and he's like given you his personal email address. So just reach out to him if you found this episode to be really helpful, or you took something really great away from it. I highly recommend that you go and do that and connect with him on Facebook too. Eric, is there anything else that you wanted to add before we sign off here?
Yeah, seriously, email me. Feel free to. My email box is down. I get to inbox 0 at the end of every day, so I respond to every email personally. Yeah.
Wow, that's a magical inbox 0. That's funny. I actually said inbox 0 a couple times to people, and they were like, "What's that?" Like they genuinely didn't know, and I'm like, "There you go."
It's getting to 0. That's I despise having it's like having stacks of paper on your desk at the end of the day. Like no, I want to delegate it. I want to make it happen. So
yeah, absolutely. I hear you. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you next time. Bye. Thank you, Eric.
bye-bye. Thank you.